May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from harm. May all beings love life. May all beings awaken. Welcome to another Cuke Audio podcast. I'm DC Booba of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, preserving the legacy of Shunryu Suzuki and those whose paths crossed his, and anything else that comes to mind. This is anything else that comes to mind, or another episode of Life in Bali. We have no guest today. So I'm just going to run through a few things that are just utterly fascinating. Like first, I pray that you and yours are safe and comfortable and free from economic hardship and able to get out and do whatever it is you want within the limitations of do as little harm as possible. Last week's Life in Bali, which I put up on Saturday, was a Valentine for Kadrinka. And, it just started off and I rambled on and about getting her some flowers and writing her a song. And then I sang the song. And then I said, well, some of the words are hard to understand, but that's first take. And, I had to get downstairs. And I hadn't planned on doing a song anyway, but and that sort of thing. But then I really didn't like the way it sounded, so I came back. So I re-recorded it and put that in and took out the part about being a first take. And also she had commented that, I had some comments about American politics, which I very rarely do, but I was saying something funny and clever, but she was right, didn't belong, so I cut that out. The song actually is not my favorite. I do not plan to ever play it again. I don't care if I ever hear it again. But, I write a lot of songs, or I have. I don't these days, a few a year now. And, it's sort of hit or miss. They just come out. And so she liked it, though. It was all right. But I decided to end this podcast with a song that I do like to play again. There's some song, every once in a while I write a song that I like to play again. And one thing that's funny, sometimes I'll write a song that is like really cool and catchy and I'll really like it. And then I'll get tired of it. And I don't know. I won't know why. I just don't want to hear it. And every once in a while, there's a song that there's something about the way I play it or just the particular chord configuration where I play it that it sort of makes me a little nauseous or something. Stuff like that. Anyway, I try to, as I said last week, I try to avoid being involved with music, playing music, even listening to music. I only listen to music that other people play. And recently, oh God, there's a lot of this modern pop music I really hate. There's a lot of new music that, especially the young, cool people I know here, they don't listen to this MTV level pop music. They play really cool music. A lot of it being original. So it's not a case of, all the old people always say. Actually, usually I haven't liked popular, what's most popular. That's not always true. Sometimes somebody, I liked Madonna, I liked, of course I liked the Beatles and the Stones. Some people were very popular at the times, but there's, long periods where the most popular pop music is, to me, is a lower realm. Anyway, for my taste. But so our Pambanto, our house cleaner, Kadek, who, in my mind, anything Kadek does is perfect. And I love her, and we both are very grateful to have her. But she'll bring a radio in the little tiny thing, and she'll turn it on. And a lot of people do this, to put it real low. So you sort of hear it in the background. And I don't care, but sometimes it gets into this thing with this sort of modern pop music where, especially high voices, usually female, but sometimes male, where they just keep repeating stuff, and it's like, to me, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard, like ew, 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 ew. Oh God! And so I have a couple of times asked her, "Oh, Dad, could you change that? I have a little trouble with the high thing, or something else. Could you change it to something else?" And I don't really think she understands what is bothering me. So anyway, she changed it the other day to something that was just as bad. So I put on some classical music. I mean, for where I was, it wasn't loud and booming in the house, but couldn't hear that. So what did I play? I just played Bach cello music. That was nice, and that covered what she was doing, what she was listening to, and I could go on and work. And then I found a Mozart. It said a piece that Mozart wrote for studying. I don't like Mozart as much as Bach or Beethoven or a lot of them, but I mean Mozart's perfect and all that. He's sort of like the Beatles. He's perfect, and I don't care to hear any more of him, really. But I will. I can. I know that sounds terrible, but oh, same with opera. Good Lord, I grew up around opera. I grew up going to operas with my mother. And I have friends, some of my best friends in Fort Worth, the husband is just like total opera buff, And the Fort Worth Opera did my mother's funeral during the opera season. She was 50-year member of the board. But but I didn't mind going to operas with her. I'd sleep through the first half. And, I mean, when I was a kid, I was never getting enough sleep. So that was nice. And then, I'd listen to it. It was all right. But except for a few exceptions, I have gone to operas on purpose. But mainly, I don't. But, it's all started because I said I avoid music. And that's true. And you know what it gets down to? Paul Spear, who's worked a lot with me and helped to help me with the print-on-demand books I've done. Really wonderful guy in Oklahoma City. And he, when I first started on podcasts, I was talking to him about it, and he was starting on it. And he said he'd stopped listening to music. He does a lot of driving, truck driving, long haul truck driving, and Uber and stuff. And he said he stopped listening to music because it puts earworms. It gives me earworms. He said, and if I listen to an audio book or a podcast, I don't get that. I thought that was very interesting, and I have found that to be true. And also, I don't think of myself as a great musician. It was just a compulsive thing. I always liked to write songs. But my relationship with songs and music, there's always this sort of love-hate thing. I get really tired of, I don't like to hear most of what I've done afterwards that much. And then every once in a while I'll go back and hear some of it and I'll go, oh, that's really great, and I'll enjoy it. But with written stuff, it's not like that. There's just less, I don't know, there's less delusion in it or something. I remember Orville Schell said to me once, he was, a China expert, and he was head of UC Berkeley. What was it? Journalism school for a while. No, he lived in Bolinas, and I played him music sometimes there. Not much, just a little bit. And but he said to me that the Chinese have a traditional distrust of music for its ability to sway people's emotions. Anyway, all right, enough of all that. Okay, so I wanted to say one other thing about the podcast a week ago. I mentioned that Samantha, who owned the flower store, is, I call her a gato gato. I don't think it's not a pejorative term. I said it means a mixture, like she's half Balinese and half Australian. It's a very common thing for people to say. And Katrinka told me that and so Katrinka and I started talking about the term because I said it was, I just said it was a mix. And she said, well, she thought it meant 50-50. And she said that a Chinese priest we'd met at a temple said he was a gato gato, like half Chinese, half Indonesian. And he was probably, he might have been a recently imported Chinese, but there's Chinese that have been here a long time, generation after generation. So I don't know which one. But anyway, so he used the term gato gato for himself. And then I said that gato gato, I mentioned it was a popular dish here. And I'm going to read you what it said. So I looked it up. On Wikipedia, of course, which is the ultimate authority on everything. I'm really so impressed. I give $2 a month to Wikipedia. I'd like to give more. I'm very impressed with it. It very quickly got up to like encyclopedia, just approaching Encyclopedia Britannica error level. There's a certain number they're graded on how many errors per page. And Wikipedia does pretty good. I find things, I glance occasionally in the areas that I know, like Zen Center, Shinya Suzuki. And it's usually pretty good. I try not to go in, but if I see an error, I'll fix it. But I really try not to pay attention to it because you can spend a lot of time, sort of tweaking it. And I don't want to do that. So anyway, the term gado, or the verb mungado, means to consume something without rice, far out. And that's true, gado gado. I'd said it usually doesn't have rice, I think, but sometimes it has rice. Every once in a while, rarely. But it's true. Gato gato tends not to have rice. And listen, there's rice with everything here. There's a really great video series on, I guess, on YouTube. Yeah, this woman does. She lives in Java, called How to Be Indonesian. Oh, God, she's good. Just great. And does little skits with her husband and her husband's friends. And like, she's from Canada, and she has just totally gone native, and her husband's Indonesian. Anyway, one of them was sharing a pizza, and then with the foreigner, the boule, gets the pizza, and the local person, who she might have played both of them. She'll do that sort of thing. I can't remember. Yeah, I think she might have played both of them. Goes, there's something missing. And then she goes and puts white rice all over it and goes, oh, now it's good. Anyway, and hey, it's true. Like our driver, Yoman, I've seen Yoman's been driving us for like 6 years. And if he sees me eating, something, and there's no rice, he'll go, where's the rice? Really? Maybe he hadn't done that so much recently, but I mean, I swear, yeah, I've heard him say that 20 times. Uh, and that's true throughout Asia. Rice is very big. So anyway, all right, means without gado-gado in Indonesian literally means mix, since it is made of a rich mixture of vegetables such as potatoes, long beans, bean sprouts, spinach, chayote. I don't know how to say chayote in Indonesian. And bitter gourd, I don't know what that is. Corn and cabbage with tofu, tempeh, and hard-boiled eggs, all mixed in peanut sauce dressing, sometimes also topped with kerupuk. Now, kerupuk is just, they're crackers. They're crisp, and they're great. I especially like the rice ones. They also have cassava crackers. I prefer rice crackers over cassava crackers. We eat cassava noodles quite a bit. I remember Jared Diamond said in one of his books, like Guns, Germs, and Steel, that cassava, which is associated with, I guess, South Seas, Southeast Asia, has been associated with malnutrition, because before rice came in, that was their starch, but it's not real great, I believe. I mean, that, but I don't know. I don't worry about it because we don't eat a lot. Cassava noodles are good. But anyway, all right, then it goes on. Gado-gado is different from, other things that I won't read because they won't mean anything to you, and they don't mean anything to me either. There are other dishes in Java and other places. But it also says here that's very interesting. In 2018, gado-gado was promoted one of 6 national dishes of Indonesia. The others are soto, which is like soup, satay. Don't we say satay? That's like, a skewer with like little pieces of meat on it. Nasi goreng, that's fried rice. Tumpeng, I don't know what that is. And rendang. Rendang is a sort of sauce that tends to go on beef rendang. But there's other types of rendang. And I've had rendang some. Anyway, and then at one place here it says, all right, here it says, gado-gado, Indonesian are Betawi. That's one of the zillion languages here. Is an Indonesian salad of slightly boiled, blanched, or steamed vegetables and hard-boiled eggs, boiled potato, fried tofu and tempeh, and lontong, which is rice wrapped in banana leaf. Now, I haven't seen that. Served with a peanut sauce dressing. And then at one place it says it differs from area to area. It differs from restaurant to restaurant. And that's one of the cool things about it. You go to a place, you want to get gado-gado, it's a nice, wholesome vegetarian meal, and it's going to be different. It's going to be different. And if you get gado-gado in like a more expensive restaurant, like one that, say, caters to foreigners and wealthier Indonesians, they'll have like really good gado-gado. Or I've frequently just ordered, I go to a place that features, all sorts of international cuisine, and I'll get Indonesian food because their Indonesian food will be like, it'll be gado-gado royale, not to be confused with the McDonald's royale. All right, I think that was somewhere like in France. I learned in Pulp Fiction. Okay, so now, so that takes care of gado-gado. Then I wanted to mention that in the podcast with Elizabeth and Ken Sawyer, which they were our Zen guests for the week, that I I had said she was from Davis because she was in Davis when she was 17 or something. She said, well, that's not quite true. And she wrote a little thing about where she came from and this and that. So I went back and read that in. And also, I had asked her, well, Michael Katz had sent me an email and he said, what sonnet was it? There's a section in their interview toward the end where she talks about taking care of Alan Chadwick, the great gardener, and the master gardeners, Steiner Gardens, helped start Green Gulch Farms Gardens, the San Francisco Zen Center's Green Gulch Farm, and I was work leader when he was there, so I knew Alan, real character, and Google Alan Chadwick, you can read a ton about him, and Elizabeth Sawyer has they have an audio of her talking about her experience with Alan. And I've linked to that site from his Cuke.com page. But anyway, she tells about being with him the night he died and putting up a Shakespeare sonnet and how he had mentioned it. And they were talking. He asked her, yes, please do get it and put it up. So she put it up on the wall. And then later there was this, she talked about that. Well, I'd heard of it and I said, well, I heard later there was a seance at the Lindisfarne Association, Lindisfarne at Crestone, in the middle of the seance, the medium doing the seance sort of broke in and said, I have a message. And I don't remember, it might have been a message. Well, there were a few people there that were very close to Alan Chadwick. There was Paul Lee, especially, the theologian who was associated with UC Santa Cruz. So I did a podcast with him. And Richard Baker, who was the abbot of Zen Center then. And some others. A lot of people knew him, right? So I said, I have a message from Alan Chadwick, and he'd like to thank I'm not sure how it was stated. So let's say he'd like to thank the person who took care of him when he was dying for putting the Shakespeare sonnet up on the wall. So I told that to Elizabeth. And it's, something I heard years ago. I mean, Alan died in I don't know, we say in the podcast, late 80s or something. Or maybe mid 80s. And, well, Richard was still abbot. So early 80s. So anyway, Michael Katz wrote and said, that medium, and Michael came from Lindisfarne. He said that medium was probably David Spangler. David Spangler from Findhorn in Scotland, which was, a sort of magical group. You can read just, Findhorn Institute, I think it is. They were into the little people and all sorts of stuff. And Bill Thompson, who started Fairlawn's Institute, was into Findhorn. And so was Paul Hawken, who wrote the Magic of Findhorn. But anyway, but Michael said, what sonnet was it? So it was sonnet number 15, and I read that at the end. I stuck that in, and read that in to the end of the Sawyer's podcast. Shakespeare's sonnet number 15, When I Consider Everything That Grows. So it was really cool. I'd like to read it now, but I'm not going to because, I don't know, I'm going on long enough. Just tell you a few things that are happening here. This house has a wonderful tile roof, but it did develop some leaks, especially where our bedroom is an add-on to the house, which is a nice brick house. At least that's a brick facade, probably cement walls with brick in front of it. I don't know, but it's a really nice older house. It has good lighting and a lot of houses here I wouldn't want to live in. A whole lot of them. We like it anyway. Especially where over our bedroom there's just like corrugated something. I guess I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's corrugated aluminum or something over that part. Where that meets the tile roof. You can't see it from in front, or and that's we've had some problems with leaks in the bedroom. They're mainly were fixed, but one place that kept leaking, we're just getting torrential rains this rainy season, and so we had some ceiling fall down just right by the wall, the window, the front leading to the front. And then upstairs on the second floor, we had some leaking, and then it'll start, the ceiling will start getting mold on it and turning black, and so our landlord brought a roofer over who he called a tukang bochor, which a tukang is a skilled person, and bochor means leaks. So I don't know if he'd call him a roofer or somebody who just fixed leaks. Now, I had a business just fixing leaks after I left Greens. 6 months. Roofer madness, I called it. I just fixed leaks in tar and gravel roofs with an acrylic. That was fun. No, roofing is, as Bob said, when it rains, roofers have nightmares because you're just dreading that some of the work you did is leaking. And I never got called back. And I give a 1-year guarantee, never got called back. And this guy gives a 1-year guarantee. Well, and he's very difficult to understand. He's from Java. He talks really fast. But, I had him talk to Nyoman, the driver, and the cadet, and, our housekeeper. And so I understood what was happening. He's coming in. And he said he could fix it all for $2.5 million, which is like $180. So he came in with, and the landlord's supposed to pay for it, but he has 3 sons that are out of work, and we have a really good deal here. So he's supposed to pay for everything, electrical, plumbing, all sorts. We never ask him to. Because this house could go for way over what we pay for it. And we just have a wonderful relationship with him. He does yoga and meditates and just is a real straight shooter, a really nice, traditional, older Balinese guy. And his sons are really good, too. And it's not always the case, especially in business here, especially when it comes to money. A lot of people, they make improvements to their home, and we have made a lot. And then the landlord would double the rent, right? Opposite here. He has not raised it at all, which is amazing. Well, anyway, so he brought him up. So I said I'd cover it. And so the roofer came. 4 guys worked a day and a half. And he was taking all these tiles off the roof way up there and fixing stuff. And he said 1-year guarantee. Now, we didn't get anything in paper. It doesn't matter. This is true in a lot of Asia. It's word of mouth. If it's on paper, it wouldn't matter anyway. What would you do? It's just somebody's word. So if it leaks, I think he'd take care of it. But for one thing, our landlord owns other places, so he wants the business. But anyway, the guys he was with, one of them was very young, kept looking at all our stuff, and he's noticing my old iPhone, which I had on a shelf, and asked about it. And I said, no, I use it. It's still good. If my new iPhone has a problem, or if I need a second one, I'll use it. And I said, really, you shouldn't be looking around at things like that and wanting them. Well, and the guy who was head of it, he noticed I had a number of backpacks of different sizes. And he held up a hammer and he said, "Man, this would be great." And I said, "Well, actually, that's a backpack I never used. It was given to me by a friend when he moved back. Well, actually, when he moved to the Philippines." I said, "So I'll give it to you." So he left first this afternoon. I paid him. And then I noticed one of his workers leaving. They stayed and finished, and they did really good work. I mean, because they were, taking, they had to redo the ceiling. They did it beautifully and painted it beautifully, and they were going and getting all sorts of things that weren't even part of it. But one of the guys was walking off with another backpack of mine. I said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 come here." And it's sort of, they're very poor, and he sees me give a backpack to his boss. And so he thinks, "Oh, good, we can have backpacks, I guess." I said, "No, I need this one. I use this." They went off. But then another thing, Katrina can't find her wallet. Now, she had told me, "Hey, there's going to be guys working in our bedroom. Don't leave your wallet in that shelf." So I, nothing happened to my wallet. But her wallet, she didn't even know where it was. And we guess it was right next to where they were working, inside a purse that was just sitting right there on the shelf. But you know what? We don't know for sure. So I thought about it for a while, and that young guy especially, but it could have been anybody. And we have a lot of things. They come in and see all these things, and they're doing work. They're really good workers. But you can see them taking some. Well, as it turns out, there was, maybe $5 worth of money in it. Her Bank of America card, a card where she can get discounts from a woman's organization, immigration Visa card. But those, one nice thing is they just give you a piece of paper that you can copy. It's just a piece of paper. And, you can just make copies of it. So that doesn't matter. But our visa agent had made one that's laminated for each of us so we can carry it. So I did write the contractor, Roman, and told him it was missing. Maybe we'll find it, but it was right next to where his guys were working. I didn't accuse anybody of anything. It's all right. And we don't know what happened. And, people do jump to conclusions and go after people. And listen, I told Neoman about it, our driver, right? He's local. He's Balinese. These guys are all from Java. The skilled people tend to all be from Java. That's true. It's just about everything. Gardeners and drivers and people who work in hotels, they're Balinese, are predominantly. And the plumbers and electricians and the tech people and everything are from Java or somewhere else. Anyway, Java predominantly. But Javanese laborers have a reputation for not being able to trust them. And when I was here in 92, that was more back to sort of like frontier justice. I heard 5 different stories of Javanese being stoned and beaten to death by, by a local crowd who had become just outraged that they were, and it's all theft. It was all from stealing. There were a couple of them pulled out of a police car. This is back in 92, who had stolen some German tourist luggage. And they just pushed the police away, pulled him out of the police car, and killed him right there. I've only heard of that happening 2 times since I've been back. There was somebody who climbed over a wall over in Seminyak, and local people saw them climbing back over the wall. It just gathered around him and killed him. So that's the old-fashioned thing they do here. And I could tell you more like that. But anyway, so Nyoman he was saying, why did you have Javanese that you don't know working there? Cardino, our regular carpenter, and his son are completely trustworthy. You know them, you're close to them. We'll leave them in our house and go off. You should have just let them fix the roof, keep an eye on them, and let Cardino come back and finish it from the inside. Yeah, I guess he's right. But you know what? And there might be other things missing, but we don't really have that much that's valuable. And, it's all right. But let me tell you one other. That's going to happen. Local people can do it too. And if you listen to my Life in Bali podcast, you probably heard me going on about that, especially how they'll steal even from their own family's business, and to the extent that they go out of business, because there'll be a restaurant and it might have, say, 8 different members of the extended family. And I know a case like this where it still is in business. It's a woman, Australian woman, that married a Balinese guy and has some number of very expensive places, but the one where they hired the most family members, they were just stealing so much. And I know a guy whose restaurant had to close because he just kept getting ripped off by his staff, And a lot of that's local people. He's a local Balinese, and he had to close it. They don't. The Balinese are not the ones that'll stick you up, or that will steal things from you. It's like stealing from a business or stealing in business. That's what I noticed. Now, I'm no expert on this. And so it's still just in the anecdotal experience area. But, that's what I've seen. But we have some friends here who lifetime World Wildlife Fund workers. And they're, in their twilight years, like us. And they had a tailor. They have a very, very nice home that was used for a fundraiser for the lighthouse, the substance abuse rehab we're involved with, especially Katrinka. Anyway, they had a tailor. He had worked for them for 10 years. They knew him well. He was in the house. And right after he left, the wife noticed her iPhone was gone. And, it had to be him. She just had it. It was just there, and now it's gone. And so actually, they called the police, and the police got him. And I wanted to know if they wanted him charged. Well, they just made a deal where he returned the iPhone, and they pretended it was never taken. There's a thing. It's like saving face, right? So they didn't do business with him anymore. I had a gardener that Nyoman said had a long arm. He would just take tools. But he wouldn't lie about it. I'd say, where's the hammer? Where's my hammer? Oh, I borrowed it a couple of weeks ago. God, man, come on. Oh, anyway, all right. Enough of all that. But that does happen. Okay. Well, I'll mention something a little more on the positive side, but nothing earth-shattering. So we had a nice house. Well, it's not positive. It's negative, too. We had a nice house across the street. And our place, houses here have walls, but we have a big, like a gatehouse. It's not a house. It's a gate structure with a roof, with a tile roof, and a big gate that slides. And you open it, and there's a wall in front there across the gang, which is like an alley. We live on a dead-end gang, which is really nice. That's where you want to live in the city. Like, we're in Sonora, but it's on the edge of Denpasar, and there's stuff going by and stuff. But anyway, a nice house over there. But right where we look, beautiful trees. I mean, a lot of them going way up and all sorts of stuff. But then the landlord decided, and Steve and Natasha, he's I'm not sure where he's from, but she's from Sulawesi. They've been together a long time. I mean, I think Steve's been here 20 years. They had to move out. They'd been there a long time. Maybe they've been there 20 years. I don't know. But they just moved to the house next door, which is much bigger because those people moved out, and it's beautiful. And beautiful gardens. Really something. But it's lovely. But anyway, so then, and this is our landlord's brother. All the trees, big tree, everything taken out. Well, they left a couple of trees on the edge. Put in a big concrete block, 2 stories tall. So there'll be like 8 or 10 rooms there they can rent out for people to stay, lower end, dividing the house up into 4 units. Now, I think this is very unwise of him because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. And maybe if he's lucky, if things go right, it'll fill up and he'll make all the money he wants. But he's putting a lot of money into this. This is a big structure. And it cuts off some of the wind here and it absorbs heat. And it really changed things. But it's all right. It's Bali. You cannot depend on anything staying here the way you like it. This is, things get built here very fast. And, their goal is to fill everything in, it seems. And just me that says that. But, we love them. But, all right. So the thing is, you can always rent a house here. This is a very in-demand area for people to rent homes. So he had a guaranteed income there. And, it's right near the ocean. It's a fairly quiet neighborhood. It's extremely low crime. Bali in general is very low crime. This is low crime for Bali. Not as low as Japan, but way, way down there. Much better than America. Well, America's different depending on the place. But all right, so he could have rented that out. But now, good luck to him. At first, I was, grumbling and, having unkind thoughts. But, then I told our landlord, I said, hey, tell your brother. And now we've planted across the gang, we've planted, oh God, I don't know what they're called. Nice, sort of tall, flowering, green, leafy plants. And we planted them all the way in front of our place and down a little further. And we go out and water it. And then at the bottom, at the base of them, are these green and purple, sort of like low-level plants. I don't know how to talk about plants. But anyway, so it's nice. And then that wall extends down about that much more. Say another 60 feet or something. Another 50 feet. And I said, hey, ask him if it's all right. We'd like to give him a gift for his new place. And we want to extend the same plants down to the end. So landlord said, yeah, great, thank you. So our gardener planted it down there. And so he said, water it every day. I went, oh my God, no, what have we done? And I won't water it I'll water it every day right away at first because it's just been planted. But then I think, our housekeeper and Yoma, they can water it, every other day. And then I'll fill in I'll be part of the team in that too. But we have a nice hose right there in the front. And if I take it out into the gong, extend it as far as I can. And, they don't have good, at least I don't know where to get good, squirting things at the end of the hose. They don't have good connectors, at least I'm sure they do somewhere, but I don't know. I haven't tried that hard. But it's all right. I can put my thumb on the end of the hose and just barely, it's sort of hard, just barely make it shoot out far enough to get to the far end of what was just planted. And then come back. And I watered it with Nyoma today because anybody who's Balinese knows a lot more about plants than I do. They grew up with plants. It's, agricultural. They all know about plants. Well, anyway, he's older. I talked to him. I said, wow, if it's America, I'd put in a drip line, and I explained to him what that was. And then we figured out, oh, look, we just run the pipe straight through the wall here. That'd be easy. And then he said, yeah, gampang. That's easy. And then we'd have to cut a line across the asphalt gang, which would be easy to do. It was a dirt road just a few years ago, or a dirt gang. And then run a little pipe in there, and then have a drip line and just turn it on. I said, you can even put an automatic turn on it, but I don't think we'd have to do that. He said, yeah, easy. So I called our plumber, talked to him. He's going to come tomorrow, and we're going to talk about that. So I mentioned it to Katrinka, and she said, okay, well, since the roof's been fixed. And I said, we don't know if the roof's been fixed. We have to see because it didn't rain for 3 days. We're going to have to wait till we have some really, really heavy rains before we know. Anyway, she said, well, since that's done, yeah, I guess. She gave her seal of approval. And I also hung a picture. She wanted hung. And it's really hard to get me. In America, I did everything. And here I don't do anything, And then I got out the drill and drilled a hole and put in one of these little rubber things that holds the nail and hung the picture. And she was very happy. Okay. So I said I was going to put a song at the end of this that is a song that I like to play. Well, I don't, but I mean, maybe once a month. Or I played it a number of times after I wrote it. I played it a month after I wrote it. And I even, a local jazz pianist, a woman, did a piano version of it. That Clay put drums to. But I'm just going to play the version of me just playing the guitar and singing it. And it's called Waiting for You. Katrinka was out, right? So I wrote her a little song. Now, this is a birthday song from a couple of years ago. I wrote her 2 songs for her birthday a couple of years ago. Waiting for You. So, anyway, that's life in Bali. Life in Bali for us. And thanks a lot. And, all I can say now is after the final words, that song, Waiting for You, will come on. And all I have to say now is this has been a Cuke Audio podcast. I'm DC Puba of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, coming to you from a sleepy Sanur with Doghead Bandita, Feline Cuchita, and dear lovely Katrinka. And we're wishing you and yours and all of us a grand awakening. I will be here for you, dreaming of our rendezvous, waiting for your footsteps on the street and surprises that you bring. You take an evening stroll homeward by where the dark waves roll onward, onward, moving closer, dear, to me, with the secrets that you keep. Swallows were swooping by where now the cave bats fly. The Southern Cross is up there on high to shine on your movements and that bundle at your side. You are no ingenue more than any Oakley who is riding, gliding through the thin and thicket with the saddlebags all stuffed with gifts. So I will be there for you, because I care for you madly, gladly will embrace the one which I sing and the treasures that you bring.